This is Embrace Your Inner Boldness, a podcast about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. I'm Melissa Henning Frank, coach, guide, and founder of Becoming Bold. I help you strip away the conditioning, reclaim your voice, and rise into the power that's always been yours. Let's get right to it. Hey friend, thanks for tuning in. This past Labor Day really got me thinking about the future of work. Most of my adult life has been spent coaching and developing leaders, and what's crazy to me is that many of the same problems that existed 20 years ago are still the unsolved problems that leaders are experiencing today. So take those problems that constantly crop up. Leaders struggling with giving feedback. They might have limited or maybe biased accountability, workplace conflict, generational differences, all of those things that come along with managing humans, and add on a bunch of new layers of pressures like new technology, political tension, rising mental health challenges, and all of the outdated practices and policies that haven't rolled with these changes, and we've got a big problem. We really need to talk about work. And I'm not talking about the job description, not the hustle harder or pursue excellence slogans, but the way work actually feels for real humans. And if we're being honest, and of course we are, there are companies that are still stuck in practices that were designed for factories in the 1950s, and it's crushing people who live in 2025. If leaders don't start paying attention, the workplace of the future is going to look like a ghost town. And not because of AI, but because humans simply will not tolerate being treated like machines anymore. So the leaders that actually lean in, who start creating human-centered workplaces today, those are the organizations that are going to win in the next decade. Those companies do exist today, but many people that I've talked to feel like it's truly a unicorn in today's marketplace. Humans run on individual and unique rhythms. Some of us wake up sharp and ready to go at 6 a.m., and others don't even find their groove until after lunch. But the weird thing is most workplaces still demand that everyone performs at the same exact hours in the same exact place. We should really question the effectiveness of staying this way. What if it's an outdated practice that no longer serves us? So instead of time clock watching, I think smart organizations will flow watch. I'm going to coin that term. They'll give people freedom to align their work with their natural energy, not some made-up rule. And I realize that not every organization has the flexibility or ability to do this due to the nature of work, but for those companies that do have the ability to do this, and there's roles that this would fit well, why not explore that? Now let's talk about meetings. What's really wild to me is that we're grown adults having to hold our pee because somebody booked back-to-back Zoom calls all day. That's not efficiency. It's insanity. Talk to your people. This is how they're feeling about it. Humans really need buffers to function at their best. 10 minutes between meetings is not a luxury. It's literally the difference between clear-headed focus and frazzled burnout. And if your workplace doesn't understand that, then you're really not leading. You're running people into the ground. And it's not just about bathroom breaks. Here's what's actually happening in your brain when you're clicking from meeting to meeting or running from meeting to meeting with zero pause. Cognitive overload. So the brain has to switch constantly between context to context. You might be going from a budget review to a strategy session to a team check-in. And that mental gear shifting is exhausting. It burns through glucose and oxygen like wildfire. So what that means is your brain is fried. Can't do anything more by 2 p.m. Then there's decision fatigue. Every meeting you go to really requires choices. What to say, what to prioritize, how to respond. And without having some kind of recovery time in between, the quality of your decisions just isn't there. Let's talk about the stress response. Constant urgency, and this is what people are experiencing in your workplace most likely, spikes cortisol. And over time, it's not just fatigue, it's anxiety, it's brain fog, and even physical health issues. And let's get real about the day-to-day experiences. This is what it actually looks like. You're scarfing down half a sandwich while still unmuted because the next meeting started before you even finished chewing. You might realize that you've been holding your bladder for 3 hours and suddenly can't even focus on the conversation. Here's one that I've personally experienced: leaving one heated meeting where emotions are really high, and then in 30 seconds, you're expected to be calm, collected, and on for your part of the next new hire orientation. Or you're literally jogging across a building with your laptop open, praying that the Wi-Fi doesn't drop while you try to log on to your next call. The bold truth is that this is not something we should be proud of. It's literally a system failure. Humans are not built for nonstop cognitive marathons. We need buffer zones, 5, 10, even 15 minutes between meetings to process, to reset, and actually show up with focus and intention to our next thing. When you don't give people that time, you're certainly not going to get their best. You're getting their exhausted leftovers. Let's consider the whole human in this next section. So digging a little bit deeper, thinking about the invisible load that your employees are carrying, and think about it in a generational sense, because there are big differences here, and you probably know that already. No one walks into work with a blank slate. Everybody is carrying a load that you can't see, and the weight could really look different depending on your generation. Gen Z is walking in with student debt, mental health challenges, and the pressure to prove themselves in a chaotic world. Millennials are stuck in the sandwich years, raising kids, caring for parents, juggling mortgages, and still recovering from 2 economic crises. Gen X is often considered the forgotten middle, balancing aging parents, having teenage kids, and a heavy workload with little recognition. And then boomers might still be working, but many are battling health issues or simply trying to keep up with tech challenges daily. Now layer on external stressors: political division, inflation, climate anxiety, global instability. This is real life that people are experiencing before they even walk into work. When companies ignore this, they're sabotaging their own performance, and the longer it goes unrecognized or unsolved, the worse it's going to get all the way around. Let's call out some dinosaurs that refuse to die. Most of the time, outdated practices equal modern problems. There's the 9-to-5 office or you're lazy mentality, or PTO policies where you need to earn your right to rest. There's leaders who think that wellness means, here, take this fruit basket, or let's make a yoga newsletter. There's also the in-person only culture where being seen at your desk is more important than the results you produce. And let's get real about manufacturing environments for a second. If you walk out onto a shop floor in 2025, you'll still see dinosaurs lumbering around, outdated practices that should have gone extinct years ago but somehow keep hanging on. And think about what gets rewarded and what gets punished, whether manufacturing or admin roles. You've got time clocks where people are treated like they can't be trusted unless they punch in and out to the minute. You've got mandatory overtime every other weekend or maybe even every weekend, as if humans are machines that can run endlessly without breaking down. Come on now, you know that's not sustainable. And then there's the paper jungle. There's clipboards, handwritten checklists, walls covered in sticky notes, when there's true digital systems, but you've got "we've always done it this way" as the mantra. Or there's command and control supervisors walking the floor, barking orders instead of coaching, listening, or empowering. And let's talk about break schedules. Workers are told exactly when they can grab water or use the bathroom, as if adults can't be trusted to meet their own needs. Safety practices are also sometimes stuck in the past. There might be people ignoring new technology or ergonomic improvements because, again, we've always done it this way. And don't forget the culture killers. Seniority over skill, where promotions go to whoever's been around the longest, not who's best equipped to lead. Or the complete lack of operator voice. Decisions made in offices far away from the line, while the people actually doing the work are completely shut out. And then there's insincere recognition. Think of an annual pizza party as a thank you for 12 months of blood, sweat, and back pain. These things crush morale, fuel turnover, and kill innovation. They create a workforce that's mentally checked out because they know their humanity doesn't matter on the floor. And when people disengage, the business bleeds out. Entry-level roles are a revolving door. Your operators get frustrated because they're always having to train new people. They're not making the time to connect with those new people because they feel like it's a waste of time if the person's only going to be there for a few days. So it's a vicious cycle. You've got new talent coming in, operators subconsciously shutting them out and ignoring them, new hires feeling shut out and ignored, so they no-call, no-show, thinking nobody cares about them anyway. And then the more senior employees can't believe this younger generation. What a mess. And how do your policies and practices stack up to these examples? If it sounds familiar, please know that these outdated practices are actively draining your talent. They're increasing your turnover, and they're poisoning your culture. And the organizations that cling to those are really bleeding out, even if you don't realize it. And if you're listening to this and thinking, whoa, none of this is resonating with me, my workplace does not have any of these issues, can we please talk? I'd love to know what your leaders are doing differently. If your company has no struggles with employee attraction, retention, and engagement, much bravo to you. And I'd love to hear more about your culture. Regardless of industry, role, or responsibility, here's the reality. When humans are impacted negatively, the business is impacted negatively. Disengagement, absenteeism, high turnover, low innovation, it all shows up on your bottom line. You can't squeeze humanity out of the system and expect profits to magically rise. Let's think about the future. Let's fast forward 10 years. If leaders keep pretending that humans are machines, the workplace of 2035 looks like this. The best talent will leave for companies that get it. You have no talent pipeline and your succession plans suck. Gen Z and Gen Alpha flat out refuse to work for outdated organizations. They'll build their own. They know that they can make bank on the internet, and they will. Mental health crises and burnout are the norm, not the exception. Workplace conflict is a daily problem because people are so tired of everyone's shit. Productivity is stagnant because humans can't thrive in cages. Businesses that refuse to adapt will be gone. They're basically irrelevant. You can't have a company without people. But of course, there's hope. So if leaders wake up now, if they start building work around humanity instead of compliance, then the future workplace looks radically different. It looks like flexibility. It's human-centered. It's filled with thriving people doing their best work in ways that actually fit their lives. And if you feel like this vision is impossible, please just step aside so that those who believe in it and can actually make it happen have the room to do so. So what do humans actually need? Let's talk about it. They need time to recharge. They need mental health days. They need sabbaticals, 4-day work weeks. No more lumping everything into vacation time or personal time. Make it clear that mental health is valued and the need to nurture it is supported starting at the top. They need real benefits, therapy, coaching, childcare, eldercare. They need flexibility, trusting people to manage their own time and space whenever this is possible. And I get it, some roles don't have that kind of flexibility, but just because that's the way it is now doesn't mean that there's not a better way that we can figure out. That's what innovation is all about. Humans need connection, creating cultures where people feel seen and heard from day one, not relying on HR to take care of the people side of things, every person taking ownership of employee morale, engagement, and retention. And humans also need purpose, so helping employees see why their work matters. When you honor those needs, people work better and they live better. And that's when your organization wins, and that's when the world wins. So to wrap it up, here's the bold truth. Humans don't need more hustle. They need more humanity. And the organizations that really get this will lead the next decade. The ones that don't, well, they're going to be the case studies that we use in our leadership development programs and shake our heads about on podcasts like this one. So ask yourself, am I building a workplace that people can survive or one that they can truly thrive in? Bold leaders don't just wait for things to change. They notice what needs changing and they help influence that change proactively. I'd love to hear from you. What else do we need to be more aware of when it comes to the way we work? DM me. Tell me what I may have missed here today. And until next time, please be kind to your mind. That's it for today's episode of Embrace Your Inner Boldness. If this stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Screenshot this episode, tag me at Becoming Bold LLC, and share it with someone else who's ready to rise. And hey, if you haven't already, take a second to subscribe, rate, and review the show. That's how we spread the boldness and keep this movement growing. Whatever came up for you today, feel the fear and do it anyway. You don't need to wait for perfect timing or permission. You are powerful. You are ready. And remember, the only limit to your boldness is the one you set for yourself. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep becoming you.